All right, Jeff, you're going to need to turn your camera on.
Hairband? I don't have any hair. Take that, sucker. You want to know?
I think that's a shot, man. That's a shot.
Right. That's a Chicago shot. Hey, they changed my music player. Did you guys notice that? Do you play music, like go to the media player on Microsoft? They changed it. So I was trying to turn the music on one of my other shows and I couldn't figure out how to do it. I'm like, what happened? It was one of those, Microsoft updates. Anyways.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks everyone for coming once again to the Exit Your Way Roundtable. Jeff, you're going to have to turn on your camera. It
doesn't do it for you.
Well, maybe what we got to do, let's just wait here. I'm going to make sure that he's
up.
Oh, he's not on the stage yet. Yeah, there we go. Boom. Now I'm going to go. So, should come up now.
Hey, folks. Good morning.
There we go. Sorry.
He's like, I can't turn my
camera on.
As it was on, so
well, that was Damon's fault.
Yeah, that's my fault. It's just like, look at the old guy trying to run technology. Enough said.
It's so chilly in Denver.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we have with us today, we got Jeffry Graham from the Denver Consulting Group or firm. I always say it wrong. Firm. Denver Consulting Firm. Sorry. Going to talk with us a little bit about holistic sales. And when we talk about that, really the reason why I've got Jeff here today is he's scaled a lot of different businesses and with a lot of different methods, everything from hardcore pay-per-click, driving people to signups to product sales and different things like that. And one of the things that he really taught me about sales was the fact that, in his words, you have to fish at all levels. And if you're limiting yourself to one way, one method, or something like that, you probably are A, missing out, or B, heading for trouble. Because if one of those methods goes away, like we saw this year, if you were all based on physically being in front of somebody and didn't have any other way of doing things, you probably got hit pretty hard. So, welcome, Jeff. Glad to have you here.
Hopefully everyone can hear me okay.
Yeah, your mic's great.
Yeah, we're very fine. I do want to I want to pop in. We are on LinkedIn Live.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, if you go to our Exit Your Way page, then to find it, all you need to do is go to the videos tab over on the left, and it'll be the first thing up. Yeah,
well, this is the first one we're trying this week. We're also going to be simulcasting this presentation, and then maybe even some of the table discussions after to LinkedIn Live. We want to be able to share this with others immediately, and maybe if they so choose, they will join the group after for the conversation. We'll see. So we're kind of excited about that, and all of our events are going to start to do that. So, Jeff, thanks a lot for being here, and Andrew's going to start. Oh, Andrew's got sharing it.
There it is.
There it is.
We're on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
All right.
The mirror, looking at yourself in the mirror.
That is.
I know.
So as we've started doing, we're going to bring people up, run through everyone to be able to just kind of say hello, how you doing? Andrew's got a question where he's going to ask of everyone. So you're going to come up, you're going to answer the question, introduce yourself, and take it away, Andrew.
Yeah, so we'll just bring you up. This is just like, in a meeting, you get 30 seconds to do your elevator pitch, but we're going to not do it that way. Just a lot of us know each other already, but just say hi and tell us about yourself. When you were 12 years old, what did you want to be when you grow up? In about 30 seconds or less. So anyways, I'll start calling folks up and we'll go through this real quick.
Are we last? Do we get to do it? I don't want to feel.
No, you don't get to do it.
Damn.
You don't get to do it, Jeff.
Well, we were talking about motocross. We were talking about motocross before on the table. That would be kind of cool to figure out how he got into it. That's kind of cool. That would be cool.
Yeah. All right, Adam. What did you do when you were 12, man?
When I was 12, I wanted to be Ira Bowman. Does that?
Yeah.
You had big goals, buddy.
I know. I wanted to be a Raiders fan. I wanted to lose a bunch of Super Bowls, and
you've done that as a Viking.
Hey! I remember the LA.
As a Viking fan, he's lost every Super Bowl he's ever played in, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to glom onto one of the Super Bowls we lost and claim that that trophy for us instead. So, but in reality, when I was 12 years old, I think I wanted to be a teacher. I think that was where I was thinking I was heading at the time. So I have gone far afield from that in some respects and not in others. So, being in the finance realm, but I teach my clients every day about things. So I'm still doing it, just not standing in front of a classroom, or at this point, a virtual classroom.
Yeah. Very good.
Very cool. Yeah.
That's
Awesome, Adam.
It is. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you. Well, Brad
Smith.
So, Andrew, that's a really interesting question and not something I had thought about because it sparked a thought. When I was 12, we were still living in Evansville, Indiana. My dad had worked for Meade Johnson, and my favorite magazine was Fortune magazine with the jets in them and the mansions and that. So I wanted to be a business guy so that I could afford those things, which I hadn't actually thought about that until you asked that question. That's just really wild.
That's awesome, dude.
It's a good one.
You grew up pretty fast.
Good.
Thanks.
All right.
And now you're helping business people today.
Now I'm just the gas pedal.
There you go. Great. Well, thanks, Brad.
Thanks.
So, Corey,
Good morning.
How are you doing today? What did you want to be when you were 12?
I'm having trouble thinking back. All I can think about it was girls and music and doing fun things. So I had to grow up a bit before I wanted to do something, and then my dad was in the restaurant business and stuff, and I realized I really didn't want to be in the restaurant business, so I picked something else.
Yeah, there you go.
Good for you.
You didn't want to.
Did not want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
That's good. Living in the moment.
Well, Kurt.
Good to see you, Corey.
Kurt, thanks, Corey. Kurt, what did you want to be when you were 12?
When I was 12 years old, 40 years ago today. So I'm 52 today. So
happy birthday, brother.
Thanks, guys. So I don't know, man. Lead singer of Cheap Trick or maybe Thurman Munson. God rest his soul. So those came to mind. Thurman Munson and Cheap Trick. How's that?
There we go. Good.
That's good.
Good. And if you haven't joined us for one of the Friday manufacturing e-commerce success series tomorrow, 10:30 Pacific, we got actually Jeff speaking tomorrow about digital transformation. So that's got some good speakers. Ira's coming up the week after, I believe, and then we've got Allison DeFord and Bonnie. I don't remember Bonnie's last name, but she's great at video. So Dan,
morning, everybody.
Dan? Looks like it's cold there.
It was 30 degrees this morning, so yeah, not warm.
Cold here too. Yep, same.
So what?
Well, Kurt, my birthday was on Tuesday, so I just turned 44.
Nice.
Happy belated.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be a professional baseball player. That's what I lived, slept, ate, drank. Everything was baseball.
So cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. This was quite a special week for my family. Blake Snell, the guy that pitched in the last game of the World Series for the Devil Rays, my son trained alongside him for like 6 years in the winter because he's from Seattle. And it was surreal. So
that's awesome.
Wow, cool.
Thanks, Dan. That's
awesome. Look at that ring.
That's awesome. All right, Jennifer, 12 years old.
Oh, I think when I was 12, I wanted to be a hairdresser.
All right.
I wanted to go to Votech to be a hairdresser. And
nice.
Changed my mind, but
that's cool.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
Yeah.
Not getting business from me or Andrew or Ira.
I don't even
bald as hell.
The only person I get business from is myself. because of COVID.
So we don't run exit your way because we sell businesses. We run exit your way because it's about follicles that exit your way.
They leave.
That's a fact.
Awesome, Jennifer. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Mike O'Connor, what did you want to be when you were 12, dude?
Well, 20 seconds.
This could be good.
No, to give you an honest answer, I didn't really decide I wanted to be anything until I was 13. When I was 12, I just wanted to survive. Dad drank a bottle of Skol vodka a day. And he lived with two very abusive brothers. Not to be a downer, but it's an honest answer to the question.
Yeah.
So
So you wanted to be an alcoholic or what? Or no?
No, just wanted to survive the day without getting beat up or molested.
There you go.
So
at 13, you decided you wanted to be something. What was the answer there?
Yeah.
When I was 13, my brother and I started a landscaping business. By the time we were 16, we had almost 300 lawns.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Entrepreneur from day one.
Yeah.
We actually decided to do that because it was a faster way out of the house.
Yeah.
Means to an end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Hey, Mike, thanks for
Mike.
sharing.
No. It's life. It's life.
Facts.
It's life, man.
You go from getting your butt beat up every day to 300 lawns in a year. That's pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, it is. That's cool.
It is.
Yeah. For a 13-year-old, man.
We had no shame. We begged people for the work.
Yeah.
Good.
Some things never change.
Never do.
They still eat that way. They don't know how to sell any other way. Like, I'm desperate. I need whatever.
All right.
Join SVN.
Mark.
Good morning. So I definitely wanted to be an architect when I was 12 years old. Now, my parents talked me out of it. They're like, you can't make enough money as an architect, so you can see where their priorities are. They wanted me to be a lawyer. So now, I design and build things. I think that's the vestige of the architectural instinct in me, designing and building systems. So it's still with me.
Very cool.
Very cool, Mark. Thanks.
You can make more as an architect than as a lawyer
Absolutely.
a lot of times. So
yeah.
So I don't know what they were thinking.
I don't know either.
I get it, buddy.
I think they needed a lawyer in the family, or thought they did.
Yeah. You never know. Maybe it was self-serving. It was like,
You never know.
Yeah.
You didn't need it. We should have it.
I have 20 years of print experience, right? Selling those large format printers for blueprints, basically, even though they're not blueprints anymore. But architects are like some of the most wealthy people I've dealt with.
Yeah.
That's funny, but maybe it was different back then. I don't know how long ago he was 12, but
yeah.
Anyway, right now that's one of the like premier. They're usually business owners. They're usually multi-million dollar businesses.
Well, Pete, what did you want to be when you were 12? Or you raised your hand too first. You raised your hand?
Yeah, well, because I didn't know how you were pulling them up.
Oh,
but
okay. Cool.
For me, 12 years old, I wanted to be a sportscaster. And it just, I really wanted to call the games because I wasn't going to have the talent to make it to the pros. So I figured this was my best way to get it to make it to the pros. And then I found out when I got to college that I was going to have to move every 3 months to a bigger and bigger market. And I thought, nah. So I'll go ahead and do that boring business degree like everybody else was doing.
Yeah.
What a fun job that would have been, man.
And you know what? I'm basically, with the podcast I do now, I'm kind of tapping into that inner child a little bit because I get to be broadcasting like
Very
I'm doing
cool.
here.
Awesome, man.
Yeah. Very cool, Pete.
Cool.
Melissa.
Hey, good morning. So I was thinking about that. What did I want to be? I think it was a teacher. And I think it comes back to like, it's other than your parents. It's the one person you get to see like professionally on a daily basis, and they got to help people. So I think it was a teacher.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Good question.
Yeah.
Get us thinking back to our younger selves.
Yeah. You have to think about it.
Good one. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
So Ron, what about you, man?
Hey man, I know exactly what I wanted to be when I was 12. I wanted to be an astronaut.
Oh, he's coming.
I knew that answer.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I watched Star Trek, and then I knew everything about those Apollo missions, the space missions, knew all the astronauts' names, everything. Just wanted to be an astronaut. So on another
and then
note,
you
I think
tried to do it. So now you're the only person out here that said that I wanted to be an astronaut when I was 12, and you actually tried out to be an astronaut.
Yeah, well, I told this came up on Ira's live show, I think. So I took the path to be an astronaut. And I was nominated by the Navy as an astronaut candidate. And when I went to NASA, I got disqualified. So I got as close as I could.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's great. That's crazy cool. It's crazy cool.
If you have anything in the wrong position in NASA, they kick you out. It's like
this was
your finger's crooked.
Yeah, I got a crooked finger. I can't do it anymore.
That was pretty much it.
That means you can't hit this button. It's that little of stuff there.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Wow.
Really small thing.
Well,
really cool, man.
Thanks for sharing that.
But in the meantime,
it's cool.
I cut him off.
Sorry about that, Ron. Mark.
Sorry, buddy.
Good morning, guys. As you can see, I dressed up for the occasion here. So
we're glad to have you.
Yeah.
Look at me, bro.
Yeah. I don't know what's on your head, but there you go for me. They're undefeated so far, so I'll take that.
We're gonna have to pull Mark off the stage right now.
Go ahead if that's where your values lie. I get it.
I'm still pissed about that deception they call immaculate.
You hold a grudge for decades, Ira. Wow.
That's all I got, bro. I don't have any hair to hold on to.
We're still upset about that mugging in Detroit.
Yeah. So who do we what do we have there for when you're at 12, Mark?
I was thinking about this. You know how they tell you when you're asked a question, you're not supposed to listen to everybody else's, and you're supposed to think about what it is that you want to do. So that's what I've been trying to do the last few minutes, was think about what I wanted to be when I was 13. And the only thing that I came up with was there was a girl that I liked in my class. And sorry, my wife is on the phone. So I got to go somewhere else.
There you go.
So I'm outside. Okay.
The girl.
That 13-year-old crush is coming back.
Yeah. I was in the kitchen and she was, hold on.
Yeah.
All right. So there was a girl. And she never liked me much after that. But I figured by
breaking up.
Cut now. You went too far from your router.
Yeah.
Get away from your wife.
So Troy, let's go ahead, Troy.
That's probably what I was.
What did you want to be when you were 12?
Oh my gosh.
Hey, Damon. Well, Ron already stole my thunder. I wanted to be an astronaut. I grew up in the Space Coast of Florida, just south of Cape Canaveral, and I wasn't even a pilot. I was in the Air Force and an officer, and didn't even fly, so I didn't even get as close as Ron did. But that was my goal back then, growing up, watching all the rockets and the shuttle launches and everything.
Yeah. So awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, Troy.
There are a lot of
astronauts
out there.
Well, it was next. Randy, were you next?
Yeah, I'm the man with the green background here.
There you go, man.
Rainbow doesn't allow you to do virtual backgrounds, or at least I haven't discovered how to. So
yeah.
Anyway, I wanted to when I grew up, I wanted to be Ilya Gorgoras.
There you go.
You know, the happy doctor.
Love it.
I'm so blessed to know him. Honestly, at that point in my life, I wasn't quite sure, but I really had some powerful teachers that to this day have had a profound influence on me. So I think I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to have a means of having the same kind of influence on others that those teachers had on me. And
yeah.
In a sense, I'm doing it in one way or another, not necessarily the path that they took, but I am influencing and teaching by other methods.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you.
Thanks for having me up here.
Cool.
So, Dr. Elia, what did you want to be when you were 12?
You know, when I was a teenager, I remember very clearly I wanted to be somebody that helped other people, and something between a psychologist and a priest, interestingly enough. I didn't know the word psychologist, but that was the idea. It's like somebody tells you their problems and you help them, but you could do that ecclesiastically or in the real world. And, you know, so it's kind of interesting. Then when I got older, I wanted to travel the world and speak about happiness.
There you go.
There you go, man.
You do.
And now you're doing
Awesome.
it. That's really
Good for
cool.
you, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you so
That's
much.
great, Elia.
So,
Thank
is that everyone, Andrew? Have we gotten everyone?
Everybody except Penny. She's on deck, but I can't. She's either got to turn her camera on or she doesn't want to. Penny Sprague. No. If you.
All right.
She's been invited, but that's the only one I think.
Ira, what did you want to be when you were 12?
12 years old was an interesting time in my life. I was actually homeless for part of that year. So much like Mike, I wasn't thinking about the future. I was thinking about the now.
Yeah.
But at that age, like if you look at that just age range, like 10 to 13, I was a pretty good wrestler. So I wanted to be an Olympic wrestler. I wanted to go to Cal Poly and wrestle for the Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo Cal Poly team because that's where my dad went. So it was a legacy thing. But the reason why I didn't enter Cal Poly was because in 1994, I graduated high school in 95. In 94, the Cal Poly music building burnt down to the ground. And I was a music major.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go to a school that wasn't going to have a building for 3 years because they said it would take 3 years to build it. And I'm like, you can't do music in a tent because they were going to have like a tent building. I'm like, that is not going to work. Like there are lots of different majors, you know, business or whatever. You could like sit there and do your work. But with music, with singing and playing, how do you do that? You can't do it with headphones on. Anyways, so I went to San Jose State. I went to a school that didn't end up having a wrestling team. And so I didn't pursue my wrestling.
There you go.
I stopped at the high school level, but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to wrestle.
Very cool. Very cool. So, Mary, what did you want to do when you were 12?
That's a good question. When I was 12, I was probably going to be an actress, and I was going to try and go to New York.
Yeah,
that's what everybody wanted to be, an actress in upstate New York did. You know, they went straight down to New York City. And then I was going to be a singer, and but my voice is all soft now, so.
All right. Those are good ones. Those are good ones. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Mary. Andrew Deutsch, what did you want to be when you were 12?
I wanted to be a guy that would grow up to not be picked last to tell what I wanted to be when I was 12. Picked last in gym.
The last on the team. The last pick.
What did you seriously though? What did
seriously? I wanted to be a world traveler, inventor, or a roadie for Frank Zappa.
So the people that don't know what Frank Zappa looks like, they will not get it. But
my second favorite. But you know, I really love
what you did it.
What happened?
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's awesome, man.
No, there's plenty.
That's awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
Very
All right. So who we got next, Andrew? Penny?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can.
There we go. Yep. And Mark Brown.
Yay!
So Andrew,
when I was 12, I was actually modeling for Barbizon School of Modeling. And actually, I wanted to become a fashion designer and go to FIT in New York.
Huh.
Very cool.
That's like, it's so interesting listening to all the ones and the ones like Mary just did and Andrew just did, because Andrew has traveled the globe many, many times. And you saying that, and that it's just the interesting different ones that we're hearing in school. So
that is really cool.
All right, thanks, Penny. So, Mark, what did you want to be when you were 12?
I was completely delusional. I wanted to be a professional soccer or baseball player.
That's awesome, though.
That's a lot of kids' dreams. You know what I mean?
Yeah, both.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Age, right? Because you haven't
Hell yeah.
you haven't got into high school yet, so no one's been. I dream of being the whatever and told you're not good enough. I mean,
Yep.
it happened.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a football player until I got the first hit from some
Think that one.
17-year-old man child with a mustache who put me. I came up off the ground and my teeth were loose, and I was like, "Well, maybe I'll join the
Tyson
chess
says
team."
everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
That's right. That's 100.
Yeah.
There are a lot less concussions in chess than football.
Yeah.
You want to be a little Billy, whatever his name is.
All right. Well, that's
True.
cool. I think Mark, I think you're the last one other than the people on the stage, right, Andrew? Or yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
that's not bad. 9:30. That was fun.
So now
it's neat to
we talked to Ira about this.
people. You know.
So what did you want to be when you were 12, Andrew?
Well, I traveled around a lot with my parents. You know, worked overseas and we flew a lot. You know, which was a nice thing to do. But man, I just kind of loved getting on planes and and traveling like that and those long flights on the big Boeings and wanted to be a pilot.
Still, when you could walk in,
I love traveling.
Got into the cockpit and talked to pilots before they were flying a lot and that kind of thing too.
Yeah, they give you a little badge, when you're like 12 years old.
Pilots
the
are
wings,
like
right? The captain, thing.
Yeah.
I always love that.
Like, oh, look.
Yeah, it was a different era, it's kind of a, traveling then. I still like traveling like that, though. I just like that whole scene. I don't know. But some people hate it, but I don't have a problem with it.
So,
yeah.
Growing up in Southern California, what did you want to be when you were 12?
I'm going to probably throw you guys for a loop on this one. So a lot of people know I rode motorcycles for a living. So for 5 years professionally, traveled the world doing that. So a lot of people think I always wanted to ride a motorcycle for a living. When I was about 9, my parents sold all our dirt bikes. So I didn't get to ride a motorcycle from about 9 to I was about 13. So I had like a gap of time there where I wasn't on a motorcycle. And then at 13, I went pro at 16. But what I wanted to be at 12 was a veterinarian.
There you go.
I already had picked that I was going to go to UC Davis, which at the time was the best veterinarian school in California. I was reading books, and I really wanted to be a veterinarian when I was 12 years old. So,
did you grow up in California?
Loved animals.
Did you grow up in California?
I did, yes, Southern California, Orange County.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. UC Davis.
And I was also I was in football. I was exceptionally skilled in every sport. I played for the best club team in Southern California, and in football I was all CIF, which is like all state. Won a CIF championship. So a lot of people thought I wanted to be in sports, but no, really, I wanted to be a vet and help animals.
And that's wrong.
Shocker.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
That's all
good stuff.
Well,
the funny thing is
this
had nothing to do with Jeff, but I wanted to be a motocross racer. I had nothing more than when I was 12. I just saved up enough money and I bought a Hadaka dirt bike.
Get on that bull taco.
Get that bull taco, and I was driving that thing around and I was going to be a motocross racer.
That's awesome.
And my teachers told me I should be a scientist, but I wasn't having that, man. I was reading I would save up my money and go buy the Motorcyclist magazine or whatever it was with the dirt bike.
Oh, yeah.
And that was my deal, man.
That was Dust to Glory, Evil Knievel. I mean, that hardtail stuff, just real badasses back then, no doubt.
Yeah.
Knievel, when I was 12, he was everywhere. Like that was the dude back then.
Yeah,
he was, and he jumped a Harley, which is psycho.
All right, Andrew's checking out early, so we're going to get going.
I got to check out early today.
Great question, Andrew. That was awesome, and as we do, sometimes we get off a bit, but we're going to listen to Jeff now. He's going to talk a little bit about holistic sales, and like I said, it's really Jeff's done this with a lot of different companies, so. We're going to listen to what he's got to say here. And if there's questions, just pound them in the chat.
Yeah,
Ira and I will
I'll monitor the chat for sure.
Yep. So
yeah.
So
yeah,
go ahead, Jeff. Take it away, man.
Yeah, well, I appreciate everybody taking the time to listen and all that. But yeah, please throw them in the chat. Questions, concerns, comments, ridicule, whatever. Don't care. I want to help out as much as I can. Sales has been a kind of in my DNA since I can remember. I always tried to get more candy on Halloween. I had a lemonade stand when I was a child. I used to recycle aluminum cans and sell newspapers. So sales has just been a part of who I am and ultimately what I do. And what I want to kind of get out of this discussion, I think for most people, is everyone's going to be in a different process. Some of you are already very experienced in sales and have established really successful processes. Some maybe are just trying to redefine or redeploy a process in which that you wanted to start getting more sales or getting more traction. But I kind of go with some major focal points from a sales standpoint, just to check the boxes to make sure that I'm on the right track. First thing that I think is one that's overlooked that a lot of people don't do, even veterans, is set sales goals, right? So, are you setting your sales goals and objectives frequently? And that could be depending on who you're talking to and what kind of industry you're in. You got to have a goal, otherwise to attain that goal. Typically, I aim higher than a lot of time is attainable, but have found in my career that I've attained those high goals at times in massive growth opportunities and just building that process. So setting sales goals is really important. The other thing that people overlook is analyzing your sales history. If you've been through sales processes or your company, a lot of times people don't look back and go, where were my failures? Where did I come up short? What was the struggle that I had? Those are the things that I think that people overlook frequently and don't really spend the time looking back. And you don't want to necessarily look backwards to run forwards, but it is important to understand where you made mistakes and where you fell short. Industry trends and what the economic and digital landscape is another big part of the sales process. I'd say now more than ever. So I think that that's one that needs to be up on the top of the list. It used to be lower on my list, but now it's up on the list. So understanding where your customers at, who they are, what they're looking for, things along those lines. And I'm going to be real generic to start, just because I think that's kind of giving us some framework or some type of a foundation. The other thing is creating a profile of your ideal customer. Most of you, I bet 99% probably don't do that. You probably should. And I mean down to the T. What do they like to eat for lunch? I mean, you really need to understand who you're selling to and what their triggers are from a human emotional aspect, not from just selling them shit, but from a human aspect. Who are these people? What do they like to do? Who do they like to hang out with? What groups do they like to associate with? Those are things that are going to allow you to get in front of the right target audience. So really understanding the profile of your ideal customer is going to help you attain meeting more people like them, because birds of a feather flock together. In addition to that, here's another one that I think people miss. Map a buyer's journey. So reverse engineer your sales from the end to the beginning, or I should say from the end to the beginning. So like from the transactional aspect all the way back to how they found you, where they found you, why they found you, how they know you, why they like you, what are the things. So mapping that journey, that's especially important in e-commerce, especially important online and in a digital aspect. But I think mapping a buyer's journey is going to be massively helpful, and a lot of people don't do it. Some of this stuff you might have heard before, right? I mean, sales has been around since the beginning of time, and barter has been around since long before that. So you're going to hear some stuff that's probably regurgitated, but in essence, it's just hitting back onto get back to basics. Keep it simple, stupid, like my old sales coaches used to tell me back in the day. The other thing I like to understand is what's your sales cycle? What's the length and the average time of your sales cycle? So does it take me 6 months from the beginning of a conversation to close? Or is it a one call, one close kind of thing, right? So understanding the length, duration of your sales cycle is going to be really important to modifying and setting your expectations and your goals. If you don't have, an idea of how long it takes to close somebody, then you're going to be mad. Oh man, I didn't close anyone this week. Well, if your sales cycle is a month, well, you're closing someone you talked to a month ago this week.
Yeah.
And so you got to kind of keep those things rolling. These are the fun ones, I think. Who's your best customer? And then Damon and I like this one. Who's your worst customer? Who's the customer you should probably shit can or fire or get rid of or say go somewhere else? Those will drain your energy. And in the sales world, your enthusiasm, your passion, your excitement is a big part of what you're portraying to someone you're talking to. If I'm having a conversation with Ira or Damon and I'm kind of like, yeah, hey, are you interested in, growing your company? And what do you they're going to be like, God, this guy's a wet noodle, so you have to carry your passion through your sales process. You have to give a shit about what you're talking about, and you have to believe in what you're selling. If you don't believe in what you're selling, then change your careers. Just go down the street and sell something else. Because honestly, if you don't have a passion and you don't care about what you're putting out there, then you're wasting your time, and your customers' time, and everyone else in between. So if you don't have passion for what you're selling, change careers. The last kind of thing I wanted to hit on before we can kind of jump into different aspects of things is obviously you have to have passion for what you're doing. You got to believe in what you're doing, but it's a tough one. Creating, sales is a human being element. It's a human element, and everything we do every day is a sale. And when you're at the grocery store, it's a sale. When you're, helping someone, or asking for someone to help you move boxes, it's a sale. Everything revolves in this world around sales. Politics is a sale. Everything's a sale. When guys knock on your door and on a bicycle and a tie and a white shirt, they're trying to sell you. So understand that the sales is always around us. We're all sales people. We're all sales professionals, even if we don't want to admit it, because we don't like that term. I'm a sales guy. Well, it's not an embarrassing term, but you're all salespeople. Everyone in this room, everyone on this chat is selling every day. You're just selling different, but you are selling. And then, the last kind of, other things is just, why are there lulls? Which opportunities were lost? Why were they lost? We can start diving into more analytical things, but in a general sense, those are the high points. Those are the things that if you do those fundamentally, you're going to set yourself up for success. And we obviously haven't gone down the road of digital at all, but that's kind of the kicker.
Those are some good ones, though. I think if people have questions for Jeff or would like to talk about any of these in specific, go ahead and drop them in the chat, raise your hand. We can get you up on stage here and talk about it, because one of the things that I was writing as I was taking notes is really to think about the ways that you're getting the word out, being in front of your potential clients. And one of the things that we spend a lot of time on discussing and actually trying are, how do you, what are the best methods, because it used to be that people could email, it used to be that you could send messages in LinkedIn, you could, all these different methods that over time were successful, but now aren't at all. And we really need to be thinking about, what are we doing? Because if you look at this year, which is all the weird crap that's happened this year, one of the things that we found that is the most successful of all is sending letters. Letters. Been around for way too long, not too long, but longer than us. And it still is very effective because there's no mail hardly coming into anybody right now. And
but part of that is based on what Jeffrey already hit on, identifying your avatar or your
that's true.
for us,
and what they're getting inundated with, right? We're getting inundated with emails now and social media posts. You know, a letter, right? Like you're saying, or touching someone in a human element. Wow, we are humans. We like interaction.
Right.
We're social creatures. So, touching someone on that's handwritten is going to go a long way compared to the generic junk ass LinkedIn message that you're getting every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or what you're getting now is like the EDDMs. If you're in the print space, you know what that is. It's every door direct mail campaign. It's like a postcard that you get. It doesn't have your name on it. It just says resident or, you know.
Yeah.
Those go in the junk. You know what I mean? Just go straight to the garbage. That's mail, but not effective mail. So again, you know, to Jeffrey's point about identifying your client and then reverse engineering the process, everything he said is 100% accurate. I mean, I love it.
Yeah. And Andrew Deutsch said something that I hadn't thought about. Even handwrite a letter and scan it, then email it. That would be interesting to try because, you know, we've been sending them snail mail. And
well, the problem with that, this is the only problem with that, because they don't know you, a lot of the email filters will stop it. But if you've interacted with them at all, I think that actually is a great idea. Just getting through that spam filters can be a challenge, especially with an attachment. When you have an attachment, if you do this long enough, you'll realize that those are even harder.
Yeah,
when you have an attachment to a non-authenticated email address with an attachment is more likely to get blocked.
Yeah. But that's a good idea, Andrew. I think that's interesting. I'd like to try it with people that I've reached out to before, we've interacted before, because it would be interesting to see how that worked. And then Ron came up with something here that we've been doing. I know Ira is much better, but short personalized, short personalized videos. And that's what I actually am going to try this next week with some outreaches that, you know, taking a video on my phone, saving it to YouTube, to my personal, and just having unlisted. So, but it's going to be, hey, Jeff, this is what I'm talking about. Blah, blah, blah. Nice to talk to you or get to meet you this way. Just wanted to say hello, blah, blah, whatever the heck I'm going to say. That is going to be then embedded in an email to try just to see, because video is a
videos are great.
The discovery process here, for those of you who don't have your sales process completely mapped out, or you're like, hey, you know, I've been doing it this way forever, but it's no longer working. I'm not getting the results I need. I'm not hitting that goal that we talked about in the beginning, right? Setting that goal. So you can do, I call it A/B testing. You could do some personalized videos. You could do some of the Deutsch suggestion, right? Do the letter and scan it and email it. Do some snail mail, handwritten letter, send that, and just test like 100 of each and see what nets you the best results. Yeah. And then maybe you discover that the answer is a mixture of maybe two of the elements, right?
But all the video is doing is the same thing we did in person. We just can't do in person anymore.
Yeah.
So we're still just doing the same old thing. We're just doing it through a personalized video because I can't go meet Damon right now with COVID, and I can't go and reaching Damon if he's in Philly or if he's in Kentucky. The personalized video is great. It's adding a human element. People are human. We have, you know, social creatures. You know, if we just fundamentally remember that, you know, and touch people on that personal level, do your research of your customer. Do they like motorcycles? Do they like football? Do they like baseball? You know, Damon used to kind of give me, you know, he used to razz me a little bit about, I like everything my customer likes for the most part. You know, and it's not that because what they like isn't, I don't have an opinion about that. Like, we're doing business here, like we're not having beers together, you know, and if they like the Red Sox, then cool. They probably like the Red Sox for a good reason. And that's neat. I don't care about baseball enough to not like the Red Sox. So I like the Red Sox too.
Yeah.
And it works, and it isn't, it's not bamboozling anyone. It's just simply like not creating conflict over things that are stupid to create conflict over with the customer.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that human interaction is what you really got to do. And that's what the what was that called? EDDM or whatever, or the mass emails, that are sent out. Just don't do. I mean, they don't do that now. That's why I think it's if you're selling a reasonable size ticket item, you got to know who the heck you're selling to for each individual one and piece of communication. And it's got to be customized to that level. Otherwise you're going to lose people.
Well, I think the reason why the letter works, I think the reason why the personal video works is because the person on the other end that's receiving it knows that you did it, or at least they assume you did it, right? It isn't something that you had a print company. Look, I've been in the print business for 20 years. I've made a lot of money printing, but the fact is it's not as personal, right? So when you make that, we're talking about a custom video that says, hey, Jeffrey, hey, Damon, hey, Ira, and you get that and it's addressed to you and it's talking about you and your business. That's, they spent time looking at me and thinking about me. I just got a direct message request from somebody who said, I looked into your business and, I thought it would be interesting. We do website design and SEO services. And I responded back saying, oh, so you were researching your competition? Like, he didn't look at me. He just sent that out to everybody.
Yeah.
But when you get something that's actually legitimately to you from the person, that makes you feel important, it makes you feel special. It's not something I'm just going to throw away. I'm like, at least going to acknowledge it, even if it's, hey, I'm not interested in that right now.
Yeah.
At least going to.
Yeah, I've got. I'm reading the chat here. Allison, I gotta say, Allison's made a couple comments in here, and that's cool. But one of the things that Allison brought up, she probably didn't realize it because she, really, really good and says stuff, and you go, oh man, that was a mind blower. But just comes out of her. And she was talking about messaging and the brand story and stuff the other day, and that stuck with me so much. Well, I first went and bought the book, and then she talked about making your customer the hero in your communications and stuff. And when you start to go into it, simplifying your message. And I was going off too far. I'm going to simplifying your message. But if your customer can, in about 5 seconds, understand, how you're going to help them, why they should care, and how they can do business with you if you want, that they need to get that in 5 seconds. And that can't be done with, 17 sentences and things like that. This communication's got to be concise. It's got to be simple.
And that's true across the board. I don't care if you're talking about your email, your website, video that you send. It's got to be like top of the fold, has to be clean and quick.
Yeah.
People don't read as much as they scan anymore, which is another thing. So you've got to really use your titles and your subtitles well, and then edit. I like to talk a lot, so it's hard for me, but edit.
Yeah, Allison put the questions down there. Thank you. Because I paraphrase poorly often. So what are some of the other things?
Yeah, good.
Some of the other things. I mean, we got some great questions going here in the chat. We got some, Andrew again was talking about the key to knowing your audience, rely on your experience to choose how to communicate. And that's right. I mean, it is about understanding that audience. And when you look at something like, and I come back to our company because we look at this junk all the time. It's as simple as I look at our website and what people used to get on. We're odd because 75% of the people that visit our website do it on desktop. Now, we have to be mobile, we have to do all those kind of things, but 75% are on a desktop. Little things like that tell you how you might want to communicate with somebody. Okay. So
the what did it for me question is super important. I'll tell you the other thing as a sales guy, right? I've been in sales a long, long time. They used to have this, it was a catchphrase, and it was kind of like oh my God, I'm sick of hearing this, but it's solution sales. So the what's in it for me, you have to know your audience, your target. You have to know what you do, and then you have to be able to show them succinctly, what I do here will address this problem and it will help you this way. So you're kind of doing all three at the same time, but with brevity, because you have that 5-6 second window to catch their attention. So it's like, they don't want to hear how smart you are. They don't want to hear how great your product is. Get off the wheeze. We call it don't pee on your page. It's not the wheeze, right? So don't do all that, right? For me, if you can address that in a smart way that, you know, is relevant to what their struggles are, that's when you have a winning solution for sure.
Yeah. That was, I was just going to tell Allison, I used that the other day after I heard you say it. Yesterday, I was on with some people on a business call, and I said, dude, we don't want this website to be a we site. And I was happy because the people that were working on the other end knew what I was talking about. So that was nice. But it is about that though. It is about how they are going to be able to solve their problem. And you might be the guide that gets them there if you're doing that kind of thing. So what else, Jeff, man? What do you think if I was sitting here today and I was like, man, I gotta recharge my sales. I've got 2 months in the end of this year. What should we do?
Well, so the hardest thing about this whole conversation is all these comments and questions are really good.
Yeah.
They're all relevant, and they all fit within the sales process in a general sense. Some of those are going to, you know, hit home runs for a certain kind of selling, and some aren't. Right now, we're in a bit of a digital world, and messaging digitally and how you're positioning your brand or positioning yourself digitally, getting those messages that are over in the comments across are very hard. And you know how you're writing, how you're portraying things, not an I, you know, not making it an I or a me. It's more of a you, and you know it's more about you and what I can do for you, not about, oh, I'm so great, you should hire me because I'm great and you're gonna win because of that. No, it's more about what you're doing for somebody else. But you know, when it comes down to it, we have a huge digital transformation that's happening, which is why we're having that conversation tomorrow. And sales is not what it used to be. You know, it's just changing so fast. And we've all had to pivot and learn a lot of different things in order to be as successful as we were. But you know what? This might sound insane, but I would cold call. I would go back to cold calling. And I know a lot of people here are going to be like, "Whoa, what cold calling?" Now, people inherently cold calling was the only way to sell in the day. And then it went away, and everyone was like, "No, send an email." Now no one looks at their email. Now no one looks at in DMs and in LinkedIn.
No, you talked about it, and you hit it out of the park.
Pick up the phone and call somebody that you want to work with and tell them, hey, I'm calling you, and just old school with it, right? And someone wrote in comments earlier that the old is new and the new is old. It's true, right? We've done a bit of a 180, and yeah, it might not work for everyone, but I'll tell you, you know, I got to deal with one time I got to deal with Skanska, which was the second largest construction company in the world. And I literally cold called the guy and was like, look, dude, I'm cold calling you right now, but I think that you're going to like what I have to say. And he goes, the fact that you picked up the phone and cold called me, I'm going to listen. And he listened.
Yeah.
And I got a huge construction contract for a client of mine. Because he was like, you cold call me, dude? Are you nuts? You know, like, that's the thing is it sounds absolutely idiotic because people screen their phones. Leave a voicemail then. I don't know. You know, I just think that human interaction and touching people in a human way is going to go far longer and create a lot more, unless you have economies of scale. Like Ira has enough, you know, followers. Like Gary Vee has enough followers. These economies of scale, so it isn't applicable to you. It isn't applicable to the 5,000 followers
Jeffrey,
on LinkedIn.
It still works. It still works. When I was in the pre.
Yeah, maybe depending on what you're selling, though. It depends on what you're selling. If you're selling a $200 widget, yeah, but if you're selling a $20,000 a month consulting package, it might not work that well because you have to have economies of scale in some aspects of sales. But mostly, if you create a human interaction and you target well, you'll be successful.
Cold calling has always been one of those things that most people are afraid to do because they don't like rejection, right? I don't hear the no. But I have always had that as part of my game. I still have it as part of my game. I love it. I think that you hit on this real early. One of the reasons why the handwritten letters, the videos work better is because most people aren't doing it. The phone in the 90s was the #1 tool. Everybody was cold calling. In the early 2000s, it started to transition over to emails.
Yeah.
In 2010, email was the predominant outreach tool. So now when you pick up the phone today, you'll get owners of companies who will answer the phone. Especially, I'm going to tell you a couple tips. Cold calling from a cold calling professional. Call at noon, at lunchtime. Call at 4:59, right at the end of the day, because all the salaried employees, all the hourly employees, they're going home, bro. They're going home. The owner will pick up the phone. I've walked in, I've cold called in person at 5:01 on Fridays selling print and gotten to talk to the owner, who's like, I can't believe you're still, out here beating the street, wearing out the leather on your shoes at 5 on a Friday. And I'm like, I know that that's a successful time for me.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
If you look at the common thread between everything that we've talked about, the videos, the letters, the phone calls, know your avatar. If you put all that together, it's the personal communications inside your industry, and you focus on the solution to what ails them, not what's so great about you. You do all that, you'll be successful in sales.
There you go. There we go. So Jeff, any last thoughts before we have to shut down here? It's a great input from people. What you got for us getting out?
It's tough, right? There's so much to cover in a sales. Being successful in sales isn't, we couldn't all fit, 1/millionth of it in a hour-long meeting. But the big takeaway is keep it human. Keep it empathetic. Have some passion and care for the people you're trying to help. And don't get discouraged by no's or I can'ts or things right now, because a lot of people are struggling. So, understanding that a no doesn't mean a no now, might mean a no now, but doesn't mean a no in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months. So, but be consistent. A lot of times in sales, people will, we'll cold call, like I was saying, once, twice a week, and then not for 3 weeks, and then once or twice a week, and like, oh, this isn't working. Now, be consistent with everything that you're doing. Consistency is key. Executing is key. But those are kind of the main takeaways. It's tough. Sales is hard. If it was easy, we would all just have clients jumping through the window. But that's not how it works.
That's for sure. Well, awesome, everyone. Thanks, Jeff, for sharing that with us. And I'm sure you're going to drop your LinkedIn link in the comments, and we'll do that, and we'll be ready to go. And we're going to jump back to the tables here for a little bit. And those of you that may be watching on LinkedIn, I'm going to end the broadcast there on LinkedIn, and we're going to go back to the tables. So thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, we got the music coming back out.